We're the daily Wolves courtside, man. We are coming into you live. A Minnesota Timberwolves losing. Season is coming to an end, man. It's one of those sweet goodbyes that we don't want to face as a Timberwolves fan, but we are facing today, unfortunately. But you know what? I don't know if many of us in this stream, I don't know if many of us on this podcast show would have thought the Minnesota Timberwolves were going to be in the Western Conference Finals for the second year in the row after the Karl Anthony Towns trade at the beginning of the year. But guess what? The Minnesota Timberwolves, they made it again to the Western Conference Finals. I know it's disappointing, man. It really is. But I think there's a lot of things to reflect on this season. There's a lot of things the Wolves did good. There's a lot of things the Wolves did bad. We're going to kind of get into the ins and outs of everything, but disappointing loss tonight for the guys. I guess I'll toss it over to you, Andrew, first. You saw the game tonight, Andrew. There was kind of this sense of the season being done. Kind of felt like that throughout the start of this game. Going into it, OKC jumps out at them right away, and they just never looked back, man. It kind of felt like the Wolves were accepting their fate. I don't know if you felt the same way or if I'm crazy for saying that, but like, was it just ready for the season to be done? Do you think the guys were just kind of ready to be done, or like, what were your feelings of the game, Andrew?
I don't think they were like ready to be done or like accepting of the fate. I mean, you go out, you're on the road in Oklahoma City. Julius Randle looked a little rattled early. He kind of came around in the second half, but it was already over by then. Nas was kind of all over the place, having turnovers. And I mean, they shot 3 for 20. It's just... It's one thing if they went out in the first quarter and their defense was terrible. I mean, they held them to 26 points. Like that's not a defensive issue. It's just you shoot 3 for 20. I think they had 4 turnovers. Yeah, 4 turnovers in the first half, gave up 6 fast break points, 4 points off of the turnovers. It's just hard to like mentally hang in and recover after that type of stuff. So I think probably by halftime, a lot of the guys were sitting there like, all right, we're going to need a historically good second half to get back into it. And then you look at the third quarter and, they shot better. They were +7 in the third quarter. They made it at least, to where you could maybe squint your eyes and go, maybe if they go on a crazy run. But then the fourth quarter starts and they end up shooting 46%. And it just never really turned into much. I think the guys were ready coming into it. I think they had a pretty solid game plan in the first half. They were getting open shots. Nikhil was open multiple times in the first quarter. Ant was, facilitating. He got to his spots a couple times and, just couldn't convert. It's just, when things like that happen where Oklahoma City at home crowd is going crazy, they're getting foul calls, they're getting Hartenstein alley-oops, and then you're going 3 for 20. Mentally, it's hard to recover from that. I don't think they traveled out there to lose, though. I think they were pretty confident that they were going to be able to come in and fix some things. They were confident that they were going to be able to come back home for a game 6. It's just that slow start just doomed them. I mean, I've watched a lot of basketball games. 9 points in the first quarter when you're getting wide open shots is tough. I mean, the other thing I'd say is this is an Oklahoma City team that when it is all said and done, I mean, they have the best defense. If you're going by like the top ranked defense to the second ranked defense, they have the best defense like since the 90s. This is a generationally good Oklahoma City team. Shai Gilgeous went up another level or 3 in the playoffs where he is just an all around scorer. J-Dub, credit to him. The Wolves obviously came in game 4 and were saying, hey, if you're going to hit shots, we're going to let you take them. And he hit shots. Chet had an awesome end to the series, and Oklahoma City's 10 deep with their role guys. So I think at the end of the day, it's less about like, the Wolves gave up. They didn't have effort. And I think it was just Oklahoma City is a significantly better basketball team. And at the end of the day, the Wolves are one of the last 4 teams playing basketball. So plenty to be proud of. the off season. We'll get to it more like as the season kind of closes here, but they have a lot of doors open that they can walk through as well. So I think they're set up good for the future.
Matt, what about you, man? What are you thinking?
Yeah, you kind of hit the points with Oklahoma City. They're just a generational team. You know, people like to hate on Shea, myself included, dude. Like, I'm not a fan of how he gets his points or how he gets to the lines, but you have to play the hand that's dealt to you. You know, you can only complain about it so much because at the end of the day, you know he's going to get the calls. And even without the free throws, he's still a fantastic player. And it hurts to say that, but that's just how it is, you know? And to have Chet and J-Dub step up like they did, like you saw all over social media, I'm sure you guys did. It's how did Denver take this team to 7? Well, Jalen Williams scoring 30 points and 20 points consistently and flirting with a triple-double helps. Chet Holmgren not shooting 30% every game helps a lot. So, you know, it's just a credit to OKC. Like Andrew said, they're an elite basketball team. The chemistry's there. They're clearly the best team in the NBA, and it kind of seems like it's their finals to win. But yeah, it's a season to be proud of. You know, you add a bunch of new faces. The start of the season looked rocky. We're like 50 games in, you know, and like a lot of people were deeming this team a play-in team. You know, people were saying that they don't deserve to be in the playoffs, all this, all that. And here we are. You come out and you beat Luka and LeBron. Luka sent you home last year. You come out and you beat the Warriors. Say whatever you want about Steph. I don't care. You come out and you beat Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield played fantastic. You have to go out with your head high, man. There's a lot of positive takeaways from this season, and it's obviously not the way that you want to end, but it's kind of just, it is what it is. Good season.
I think, you know, like you said, it's a good season overall. Again, we didn't expect it. The trade goes down. You think you're going to take a step back. You don't even know what they're going to be. You don't know when a trade goes down that close to the season starting. How are you supposed to, as a team, come together? How are you supposed to figure it out? And I think you saw those growing pains with Minnesota, with the beginning of the year, with Randall, with Dante. And then obviously Dante kind of found his stride. Randall gets hurt. He comes back. He finds his stride. Dante gets hurt. The different, you know what I mean? They found themselves within the team. And I think that's something to find with Minnesota. I think the curious part when they go into the offseason is to look at a bunch of different things, guys. Rudy Gobert was questionable in different, in my opinion, in a lot of different ways in the playoffs. And you got to start wondering, is it coming up? Is different things coming up with Rudy Gobert? Is the outside stuff with his girlfriend that we've seen, as much as we want to say that doesn't affect anything, could it have? Even if it's just this series, could it have? Because I know with a lot of people, if I'm having, you know, something with a girlfriend or a wife or a fiance or whatever, and it might affect my job, and I'm not even an NBA player, it could easily come in and it can affect it. I don't know. Who knows? Anthony Edwards dealing with the stuff with the kids. I'll call it out how it is. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. Maybe not. But
I would be willing to say I guarantee and promise you it had nothing to do with it. Like,
but isn't it human nature to respond to certain things?
And no, if Ant had no distractions and Rudy had no distractions, they'd lose in 6. Like, this was such a vastly better, more talented team that those two factors had nothing to do with it. Rudy was a complete mismatch. He couldn't play up in mid-range, so floaters, pull-ups, fadeaways were getting hit over him. He couldn't play back enough because he had to respect the mid-range, so back cuts were happening because Randall is not a very good off-ball defender, and when he's not locked in, it kind of showed again in this series. And as for Ant, I mean, I guarantee you Ant doesn't think about it. He has a team of lawyers. He has a team of advisors. I mean, that dude cares so little about what anyone else thinks that I would be willing to guarantee that didn't factor in. But I mean, it's human nature to an extent, but it's different when you're at the pro athlete level. Like, these guys are so insulated. They have so much mental health availability. And I mean, in Rudy's case, I mean, he just got played off the floor. Like, Oklahoma City just cracked him. And in Ant's case, like, I think this has been the best playoffs of, I mean, his young career. I think this has been the best season of his career. So to think that distractions got in the way of it, I'm gonna have to just say no on that one.
What about the comment that's on the screen, Andrew, from Heidi? Is it, is this on Finch, man, with the lineups being played? Could you have gone to this sooner? Does it make a difference? It might not get you the series win, Andrew, but does it change the series by potentially getting these guys in early, man?
Heidi's comments I do agree with. Like, okay. It's hard because if you're Chris Finch, these are the 8 guys you've been rolling with all season, and you want to just hold out hope that Dante is going to have a game like he did in game 4 where he hits threes. Nikhil's going to have a game like he did in game 4 where he hits threes. But I mean, you got a guy in Terrence Shannon who's not afraid of the moment, who works unbelievably hard. He trains with Ant's like trainer. He's put up numbers. He's been efficient. He's not a liability on defense. He probably could have been put into the game earlier. Again, I think unfortunately, like, Oklahoma City is just such a better basketball team that if TJ was getting 30 minutes as opposed to 16, again, it might go 6 games, but the Clark side is a little interesting. I thought we would see him more in this series too, especially with how he did against SGA in the season. But kind of background murmurs and stuff I was picking up on was just they were really concerned about his turnovers. I mean, even in UCLA, he turned the ball over at like a 1-to-1 ratio. He does get kind of freaked out when he gets a lot of ball pressure, and through college, he was a sub 30% 3-point shooter. So it's like, is this really the time to throw a guy in that's 22? The other one I've been seeing a lot online is Rob Dillingham. I'm just going to pull the curtain back a little bit. Rob Dillingham is like dab smack in the middle of changing his entire jump shot. Like, that air ball he threw up in garbage time of game 3 compared to what he's been shooting in practice, it's a completely different person. And if they were to give him like 25 minutes, I think the fear would be that would be really detrimental to his development, especially if he were to get hurt, roll an ankle, get inside his own head by missing shots really bad. It's just one of those things where Rob Dillingham, they're very high on, but they're very high on him for the future, like 23, 24-year-old Rob. But I do agree. Like, there were levers Finch could have pulled earlier. I can kind of see his hesitancy to do them just because Dante's a proven 3-point shooter. Nikhil's a proven playoff performer. Rudy's a big game performer. Mike's a big game performer. But at some point, you just got to kind of throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And if there's anything, next season, we know Terrence Shannon's going to be a rotational guy.
100%, man. Matt, what do you think, man, of Gobert, man? Because there's been criticism against Rudy Gobert. I know you feel some type of way against Gobert. Let's just kind of go through his numbers, man. 2 points this game, 13 last game, 7 the game before that, 5 before that, 2 before that against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Andrew said it, man. He kind of got played off the floor. He's a max contract player. What are the Timberwolves going to look for and do kind of with Rudy Gobert? Or what do you kind of feel? I know people in the comments said, do we think they can get like some kind of can they get picks for Gobert? Can they get a star? I guess you want to clarify it, Matt. What do you think is going to happen with them, and what realistically direction would you want the Timberwolves to go with Rudy Gobert?
I mean, realistically, Andrew, do you know how old Rudy is off the top of your head?
31, 32. His 31. Last year of his contract, I think he's 36.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you.
All right. Yeah. So either way, Rudy Gobert, he's in his early to mid 30s. Right.
Yeah, he's 32. Last year of his contract is 36.
So yeah, you're only gonna get so much for a player like Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
He has the narratives. He kind of has a ceiling as a player, and he kind of caps his team at a ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've seen what that is. We saw it in Utah, and we've kind of seen it twice now. And it's not that I feel some type of way about Rudy, because I love Rudy. I think that Rudy's done a lot. Look at last season. Rudy changed, or was part of the change of the defensive identity of this team. He was a DPOY. Rudy was fantastic. But we're at that time. Your big men just statistically drop off around age 32, 33. That's what happens. Their stats, their minutes, it all decreases.
Yep.
So where I am kind of at with this whole Rudy Gobert thing is I think truthfully the best thing, not the best, what I would do is, like I said, we know where your team ceiling kind of is. We're at the point where not just because of Rudy, I think we need a new big. We need a reliable center who can rebound more constantly and is just better with his hands. I'm sorry, I'm kind of stuttering around my words right now. I'm kind of trying to just figure out how to say it, but just plain and simple. Like
what you're saying.
We just need more of an offensive oriented center, like not just solely offense, but somebody who can just catch the damn basketball, man. Like something as simple as that. And I'm at the point where it's like whatever you can get for Rudy. Because we extended him to 3 years, the $80 million or something like that. There's not many teams that are going to want it. But yes, there are teams that are desperate for a center. Like you look at LA. You look at, I guess that's just a team that initially comes to my head. Maybe like a Golden State or something like that if you want like a true big.
Yeah.
There are options, but realistically, where I'm at with it is I think that you kind of just need to take what you can get for Rudy at this point. I was very unimpressed, but like you guys said, he's played off the floor. But when he was on the floor, I guess kind of from what I saw, I was just unimpressed. I didn't like seeing lobs go over his head. Like there was one that really stood out, the Hartenstein lob. Like the dude could have stuck his hand up, standing up, and he kind of just watched it sail. And it's like, man, come on. And I just feel like I've seen a little bit too many of those, and I think that I'm out on Rudy, and maybe that's just the emotions talking right now. But I was just unimpressed to say the least.
Yeah. What do you think, Andrew? How do you feel about Rudy Gobert and his play? Before I chime in on it.
Yeah, I mean, tough series for Rudy. It's hard with Rudy because, well, let me say this: like Game 5 of the Lakers series, like Rudy Gobert won that game. The Wolves played one way for 4 games, and then Game 5, the first quarter, they were just feeding it into Rudy. They were getting him on drop passes. He was just scoring at the rim at will, and they did the same thing in Game 5 against the Warriors. Rudy was relatively ineffective, and then all of a sudden, first play of the game, Ant hits him on a pick and roll. Dante's hitting him on lobs, and it opens up everything else for shooters. I think Rudy gets a bad rap because of the offensive things, and those just aren't going to change at this stage of his career. Like he's turning 33, he's 33, turning 34. I mean, he's still going to be making $35 million next season. That's a big chunk of change for a team. And I mean, Rudy is a great center if he is relied on to play 25 to 32 minutes a night. We're not relying on him to score. If Rudy's Isaiah Hartenstein, or if Rudy is Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks, Rudy's fine. I think the issue is the Wolves rely on Rudy Gobert for, he's 33 at the beginning of next season. You're correct, Jordy Nelson Muse. Thank you, Jordy Nelson Muse. You're the MVP, Jordy Nelson. Fabulous Oakland Raider. And Green
I love
Bay
the Jordy Nelson shout.
But I think that's the biggest problem the Wolves have with Rudy is they rely on him so much. Their defense runs solely through him being a rim protector. And at 33 years old at the start of next season, making $35 million, what can you trade for him? I think there will be teams that are interested, like him with LeBron, Luka, and Reeves on the Lakers would kind of make sense as that lob threat rim protector. On Dallas with Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, Kyrie, that would make sense. You also look over at Atlanta. They're losing Clint Capella. Rudy's a significantly better version of Clint Capella. There's teams that'll at least kick the tires on him. The thing with the Rudy trade is you're not going to get back anything. Like if Rudy goes to LA, you're getting back like Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura is probably a stretch because
I would take him.
Going to just take that salary for nothing. If he's going to Atlanta, you're probably getting some bench player that's overpaid. Same with, like, ideally, like Daniel Gafford would be the perfect guy for this team. Good rim protector, catch lobs, shoot threes, but you're not getting a Daniel Gafford back for Rudy. So then how do you make Rudy appealing? You either got to attach the Detroit pick, which that's theoretically the Rudy replacement pick if you keep Rudy, or you're attaching a Jalen Clark, TJ Shannon, Rob Dillingham, which from being around the team all year, they're very high on those three guys. Like, that's their future. Like, that's the gamble that when Mike retires, when Rudy retires, when Nikhil, if he leaves, if Dante leaves in 3 years, the gamble is those guys are going to be awesome, but it just hasn't shown out. You know, we just don't know. My gut says Rudy's probably on the team at the beginning of next season. My gut is it's probably going to be similar to this season, where some games he starts, some games he closes, some games he's fine, some games he's awesome, and some games he's unplayable. But, you know, again, Tim Connolly has been awesome with personnel. So who knows, really?
Trust the process.
Trust the process for sure. We'll be right back with the show, guys, after this ad break.
It's playoff time in Minnesota. The energy is electric, the stakes are high, and every move counts. You can feel it, right? The momentum, the nerves, the is this really happening buzz. The spring real estate market in the Twin Cities has the same kind of energy. Headlines are flying out about interest rates, the economy, and what's coming next. It's exciting, yes, but also confusing and a little bit overwhelming. Whether you're thinking about buying, selling, or just wondering if that Zestimate is lying to you, don't overthink it. Go to wolvesrealtor.com and connect with Heather. She's not just a fan in the stands. She's on the court every day with Exit and North Star Realty, reading plays, adjusting the strategy, and helping people make confident moves, not panicked ones. Even if you're just curious or unsure about the next step, wolvesrealtor.com is where you start. No pressure, just real talk, real answers, and a game plan that actually works. Because when it comes to real estate, just like basketball, having the right coach makes all the difference. Go check out wolvesrealtor.com and tell them Matt from the Daily Wolves sent you.
Man, shout out to Heather. I don't know why it kind of went again for a split second for everybody. But we're also partnered with SeatGeek, man, the best ticket app out there. I don't know about you guys, but when I want to go to a concert, anything that's happening in town, I go to SeatGeek, man. And on the screen, you can see it there. And for those listening on Spotify and Apple, use promo code TheDailyWolves, all one word, for $20 off for your next order on SeatGeek. Man, the Twins, they're kind of on the hot streak right now. So if you're in Minnesota, again, if you need tickets, the Daily Wolves, all one word, on SeatGeek for $20 off your next order, man. Guys, obviously, a lot of things about the Timberwolves, their future. Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Let's kind of wrap up before we kind of like tune down the show. We got to get into it with the boys here. Was this Nickeil Alexander-Walker's last game in a Minnesota Timberwolves uniform, Andrew?
I don't know. Yeah. Once we went down 2-0, I started digging more into the offseason stuff. Mm-hmm. And this offseason, I have no read on. The only team out there that has pure cap space is Brooklyn. Detroit can free some stuff up. There's other teams that can decline team options on rookies or change their books and kind of free up a little bit of money.
Yep.
But there's no real team that, like, other than Brooklyn, that could offer Nickeil anything more than the mid-level exception. Okay. And if you're Nickeil and you're getting a call from Houston, or you're getting a call from your home city of Toronto, and they say, hey, we'll give you 2 years, $24 million. You just bought a house in Minneapolis. You have a young kid. You live in Minneapolis or outside, like suburbs of Minneapolis. And the Wolves say, hey, we'll give you 2 years for 11. Like, is the extra $5 million worth it to move? I don't know. I don't know what Nickeil's like heart is going to tell him to do. I do know he genuinely loves being in Minneapolis. He's talked multiple times of how the Wolves saved his basketball career. He is considered a leader on this team. He's consistent, spiritual, great interview. I've enjoyed all of my interactions with him this season. So I hope he stays around, but you can't hate a guy if he's going to go get more money. And I'd say the same thing with Nas. Like, there is no cap room. I would assume Brooklyn is going to look at Nas, who is from New Jersey, from Jersey, and offer him a bag to come back to, come back home, play for the hometown Nets. But I don't know how big that bag is when no one's competing to get him. If no one signs him for the mid-level, or no one offers Nickeil or Nas a bag, then it comes down to sign-in trades, which, because no one has money, that means the Wolves have to accommodate it, and that means they're going to get picks back. So it's a really weird offseason. I think Windhorst said it a couple days ago, of just like, this is going to be an offseason with more movement than probably any other offseason, because no one has money. Everyone's going to be flipping contracts to try and mix up their team. And from that standpoint, I mean, the Wolves are in a great position. They have Naz Reid, probably the best free agent center in the class, unless you want to argue Miles Turner, which honestly, that's fair if you believe he is. You have Nickeil, a true 3-and-D player who is in his prime. You have Julius Randle, who's going to be, I would assume, accept the player option or request an extension and sign and trade. And in a summer of turmoil, the Wolves have 3 of the bigger trade chips that they can get involved in stuff with. Now, they don't have any draft picks, so the odds of them getting Giannis is pretty small. But if you're looking at how can this team mix it up, I mean, they have assets that they can move for players, which is something to look forward to with Wolves fans.
So my big thing, I'm with you. I really hope this was not Nickeil's last game in a Wolves uniform. This man has been my second favorite player personally over these last 2 years. Just seeing from how he started to where he's at now. Like you said, like, Minnesota revived his basketball career. He was just a throw-in for the trade. When we traded for him, I was like, who the hell is this guy? I'm not going to lie to you. I was really confused, and now I am one of Nickeil's biggest fans. But when it comes down to Naz Reid, I have a lot that I could talk about this, but I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet just because I know we're kind of pushing time. But my big thing with Nas, if you're the Wolves, if I was the GM again, which obviously I'm not, and that's a good thing, but if I'm the GM in this situation, what I do is I'm going to sit back and I'm going to rewatch this Oklahoma City series quite a few times. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch some of Golden State a few times. What I'm going to do is I'm really going to analyze Naz Reid, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Julius Randle. Right? And when it comes to Naz Reid specifically, it's going to come down to, does his upside and his shot-making ability outweigh his defensive struggles, his turnover struggles, and sometimes he just shoots you out of games. Is that ability for, like, not a, how do I say this? Is that what you want for your team? Like, is that the route that you're going to go flat out? Is Nas going to be worth anything more than $15 million after these Oklahoma City series? Like, there have been lots of talks about Nas losing himself lots of money over the playoffs. And obviously, I don't want to see that happen to Nas. I want to see Nas go get his bag. But I really don't know. I think the Wolves are going to sit down and they're going to do a lot of evaluating. Like you said, Tim Connelly hasn't made many mistakes, and I don't expect him to make a mistake on Naz Reid if he's going to walk or how much he's going to offer him. So, it's going to be a very interesting offseason, to say the least, for the Wolves.
What we got to just add on Naz Reid. So in the playoffs, he had 6 games shooting 40% or 5 games shooting 40% or lower, 5 games shooting 60% or higher. That's just Naz Reid. He's either really, really good or really, really bad. There was 3 games where he was in between and went 4 for 7 in all 3 of them. But you look at starting caliber players, unless you are a star, the biggest attribute you can bring is consistency. And whether that's not turning the ball over consistency, like Mike Conley, who struggles shooting some nights, but he doesn't get turnovers, whether that's defensive consistency like Rudy Gobert or Jaden McDaniels, whether that's offensive consistency like Julius Randle, who 9 games out of 10 is going to score for you. You just can't have a guy that is so inconsistent and pay him like he's a starter, which that might be what happens. Is the only team that has money is Brooklyn. They look at him and say, we'd give him 25. And then the Wolves offer him 3 years, 20 or 3 years, 20 a year. Maybe that's enough to keep him here. Again, he lives in the Twin Cities area. He stays here every offseason. He loves the fans. He genuinely enjoys the cult figure that he's brought here. I don't know. And that's the weirdest thing, because normally you look at free agents like Nas and you're like, oh, he's gone. Someone will pay him, but no one has money to pay him. Yep. And he does genuinely seem to really like just being here.
Mm-hmm. And Ant's here, and Jaden's his best friend, right? They do everything together, like you had brought up, Andrew. And again, Anthony Edwards is one of his best friends as well. Maybe not as close of a relationship, but still, the relationship is there, guys. He's formed a connection. He's gone to the Western Conference Finals multiple times with his team. He's been in with these young guys like Ant and Jaden since the beginning, man. He's grown up with them. That's something to be said. And the veterans, they set a tone too, right? And Mike Conley taking a discount to stay with Minnesota. Rudy Gobert to take a discount. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but sometimes it's about building a culture that's really great. It starts at the top with the ownership. It starts at the top with Tim Conley. And if you can build a culture that's like that, players might be willing to take that, man. It's just, we've seen it, right? Jalen Brunson, the New York guys, players have done it. It's not crazy to think that could happen. I guess we'll see. Before we get out of here, the last thing I want to point out, someone says, is Kevin Durant still on the table for us? No. We're going to make this short. He's not on the table for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm not going to go too much into it. It just isn't going to happen anymore. It's probably unrealistic. More realistic that Julius Randle will be back. I don't want to go too much into it, but I wanted to address that just because I authentically think the three of us would agree KD is not on the table for the Minnesota Timberwolves. But yeah, before we get out of here, guys, we're also partnered with Better, the best sports betting app out there. I don't know about you guys, but if you want to go sports bet tomorrow before the New York Knicks Pacers game, there's a chance to do so. You can go on, you can download Better on your iOS or Android store today. Type in BETR, and you can put in our promo code TheDailySPN and get a $77 deposit match. That's 100%, by the way, 100% deposit match up to $77 with Better, just by putting in our promo code TheDailySPN. My favorite part about Better is if a player gets injured, it's not going to screw your whole lineup up. You're still going to hit because they do injury revives. That's the best thing, man. If a player gets hurt, let's say he has a season-ending injury like Damian Lillard we saw in the playoffs. Steph Curry was pretty much out for the series. It doesn't matter. They have injury revives, and they will secure your lineup, and you will still win your sports betting lineup. Sign up with Better today, man. Shout out to Better for hooking us up, guys. We're going to get out here, guys. Again, we appreciate
one
all
real
the
quick
love.
thing here. Just real quick on KD. I don't think it's completely eliminated. I think it's incredibly unlikely because KD has leaked out other teams he would like to play for.
Yeah.
But with Julius Randle's playoffs, I think Phoenix would be more into him, if that makes sense. So I would say it's 97% not going to happen, but there's a 3% chance where Matt Ishbia is whoa, Julius Randle and Devin Booker. And then you're off to the races.
Dude, I never thought I'd hear that. Julius Randle and Devin Booker.
I mean, that's the thing. Matt Ishbia sold himself on Bradley Beal.
You are right. You are
true.
Right.
I guess I didn't think about that. If you can sell yourself on Beal, you can sell yourself on anything. You never know what's down in the desert, man. When the heat gets high, it's 120 degrees. You're sitting there, and all you got is cactus juice to drink, man. You just never know what's going to happen in that Phoenix Suns office. We appreciate everybody for following us with the Daily Wolves Courtside. Obviously, a newer thing we've unleashed here at the Daily Wolves. We appreciate everyone for supporting us throughout the series, man. All season long, we appreciate you guys. We don't want to say goodbye, but we're not going to because we're going to be covering the Minnesota Timberwolves all summer, man. That's right. We got the NBA draft coming up. We'll be there. If we got the summer league coming up, we got you guys covered, man, all the way to training camp. And on top of that, we're going to be actually debuting, and we already have the Daily Wolves Missing Links, I should say, WNBA podcast. It's called The Missing Links. It's on our Spotify, Apple. You can just go under there, search the Daily Wolves. You're going to find all the Links podcasts labeled on there. You're going to find all of our Wolves stuff from the previous stuff if you already follow us, but you can follow along with the Minnesota Lynx. We're covering it for the first time to bring you guys that close-up fan perspective along with the beat reporter with Andrew, something that's kind of never been done before. We're really, really excited to bring you guys some untapped potential. The Lynx are 5-0. They look like they're ready to get the revenge after how the season ended last year. So we're really excited to bring that to you guys. And as always, before we get out of here, guys, one last time, go Wolves.
Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.